session with Twist Light. But before we do get started, I will check with our president-elect, because I don't think our president has shown up yet, to see if there are anything that needs to be said before we get started with our speaker. Jakara, is there anything that you want to mention before we get started?
Oh, I'm excited to be here. Looking forward to an awesome educational session we have today. We have a lot of things going on, and I think we're going to save that for after our speaker because I want to jump right on in and let's enjoy our time together. More people are going to keep coming in. We're just going to keep admitting them. So lean into the conversation, take notes because we're going to chat more when we get to our deep dive after the fact as well. So thanks so much, Eva.
All right, awesome, awesome. So without further ado, I just want to introduce you all to Twist Light. I'm sure a lot of you probably may remember her from her involvement with Black NSA in the past, but she is a keynote speaker who teaches people how to cultivate the connections and build the relationships that move business forward. A self-proclaimed lover of events, Twist's mission is to make meeting planners look like superheroes and their attendees feel like rock stars. Twist and her team also work professional speakers and sales teams to create incredible slide decks that draw people in. They've worked with the likes of Michelle Cedarberg, CSP, Tahira Bellotte, NFL, NBA, and Mimi Brown, another CSP. So learn how to turn your slides into a visual experience that strengthens your message, elevates your credibility, and helps get you booked again, because that's what we're all about, repeated bookings. So if what you want is to impress all of your stakeholders with your stories and slides, you are in for a treat because this class is for you. So without further ado, please everyone give a Black NSA welcome to our speaker tonight, Twist Light.
Hey friends, how are you? I'm so happy to be here with you. For those of you that I haven't met before, I'm Twist. I am a member of CAPS, which is the Canadian Association of Professional. I am cool. I muted myself. That was fun. Let's do that all over again, shall we? By the way, when tech hiccups happen, friends, here is what I do all the time. I say, oh, tech's reminding me that it's in charge again. Thank you so much for your grace. And the audience is wonderful about it. If we fumble when tech goes wrong, then we don't look professional. So just thank the audience for their graciousness and continue. Little top tip from somebody who has tech issues sometimes. But I'm guessing none of you ever have tech issues, right? Never. Never. Okay. So friends, my name is Twist, and I did some wonderful stuff with Black NSA a couple of years ago, some design and copy and whatnot. My team did that. And it is definitely one of my favorite groups at NSA. I am a member of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. I am coming to you from middle of nowhere, Canada right now. One thing before we get started, when I'm going to present right from Canva tonight, when you present right from Canva, sometimes transitions can be a little bit choppy. So what I want you to be aware of is they're not that way in person. So when you take your decks to be in person, if you design in Canva, you won't see that. So it's just something that we have to be responsible for when we're presenting online. All right. The other thing is we will have a Q&A partway through. You'll see the letters Q&A on the screen. And at that point, you're welcome to ask me anything you want to. Don't hold your questions, though. Put them in the chat so that when we get to that point, I can go back and look at them if you have them. All right, let's get started. All right, friends, so this is slide deck magic. And what this is really about is helping you be the best speaker that you can possibly be on stage. So when we are speakers, we want to be paid the big bucks, right? So why, friends, are you doing this to your slides? Why? Moreover, don't we love it when people do this to their slides? I mean, for those of you in education or medical, like I get it, there's things you have to put on the screen, but there are ways that you can do this so that this doesn't happen to your audience, because this is something that happens. We do this to our audiences. And friends, if you want to post a picture of the wonderful Tulip Festival in Amsterdam disguised as a blurry picture of a wonderful square somewhere, I would advise you not, because blurry pictures, unless they're very intentionally blurry or you own it, take away from the audience experience. Moreover, what it does is it makes your event planners scratch their head and think to themselves, oh my gosh, who did I just hire? because we are a representation and a continuation of their brand, which means we need to make sure that we look the best we can. So let's stop doing this, okay? Let's stop doing this because we are here in with audiences to deliver our expertise. That's what we're here for. Just like I'm here to do that with you right now. But when we put up decks that don't match a brand and aren't elevated, we are just under delivering our expertise, which means that we look like under delivering experts. And the last time I checked, none of us wanted to look like this on stage. So, what I want you to do tonight is think about your slides as an opportunity to connect with your audience in ways that you never have thought about doing before. Really, what your slides are not just a gift to you, but they're a gift to your audience. And I want to show you how to do that tonight. Now, before we get started into that, what I want you to know is that my philosophy as a speaker is that I am the least important person in the room with the most responsibility. It's never about me. I'm not here because this is about me. I'm here because this is about you. Because I'm playing the game of never knowing the end of the difference that I'm going to make. And I'm hoping that what you take away from tonight is going to make a difference for audiences that I will never speak to or meet. So the first thing and the primary thing I want you to get tonight, and you're going to see this several times, is your slides are your story, are not your storytellers. They are your story enhancers, period. And when people look at me and say, oh my gosh, Twist, you're so lucky. Your slides are so beautiful. You can do so many things. You have a team. I'm like, friends, what's luck got to do with it? Let me tell you, there's four things. There's what needs to be designed. So think about your content. What is it that needs to be designed? The second thing that goes into luck, your design skills. Because if you don't know why white space is important, if you don't know what white space is, if you don't know what design hierarchy is, P.S., that's where people look at what time on the screen, okay? You can't possibly have fantastic slides. Friends, your knowledge and proficiency of whatever software you're using will impact what you're able to do. And beyond that, the capabilities and limitations of the software itself. Because sometimes I think to myself, hey, we should do this really cool thing, but Canva can't do it, or PowerPoint can't do it, or whatever software we're using can't do it. Or maybe the software updated and you're learning the new thing that it can do. So those are the four things that go into making luck. So friends, what's luck got to do with it? Not much. Tonight, we're going to look at those four things. Now, some of you know who this absolutely stunning human is. Like, if I could pour my love out for this woman, I would. I actually had the privilege of seeing her speak just the other day. She was spectacular, can I tell you? She was absolutely spectacular. When we started working with Mimi, this is what her deck looked like. Now, before we get started, and I can't see all of you, but I want you all to do this. Can everybody please do this? Put your goggles on. These are your curiosity glasses. You're going to put these on tonight. Now, if you notice yourself judging, then you're going to put your glasses on and employ curiosity. Because when judgment is present, it gets in the way of us actually learning something. And we're just here to be great together. And Mimi was so gracious and said, Twist, you can show them anything you want to. And so I picked, it was really hard. I'm not going to lie, it was really hard. But I picked a favorite few pieces to show you. Friends, somebody is unmuted. If we could just get everybody to mute, that would be great. Thank you so much, friends. All right, so this is what her deck looked like. Now, I'm going to raise my hand and say at one point, like I was new at deck design. Maybe my deck looked a little bit like this. I was like, I'm going to put all the information on it. You don't need all the information, okay? This was her second slide. So swag is her acronym for something. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. She cracks a joke at the beginning. It's brilliant about people sending her cookies. And she actually gives people an address to send her cookies. P.S. You should screenshot this right now and send her cookies. But you should send her Thin Mints because those are her favorite. Okay. And then she tells a story about going to work. She tells a story about somebody named Bill. She tells a story about a radio station and which song she landed on at a particular time. She goes back to her swag acronym. And here we are back at the beginning. Now, those are just a few slides from one of the decks that we built for her. Friends, this is what we did to it. You tell me who the $30,000 speaker is. This person or this person? Right? 30K may not be Mimi's fee. It's not right now. But let me tell you, you'll see a quote in a few minutes about why I use that number. So this is her new cover slide. We get the animation where swag bumps out. Okay. So there's some animation there. We put the Thin Mints because if you think back to the cookies that were on the last slide that look like this, if we say something that's incongruent with what's on the screen, people notice and there's a disconnect. Okay, so instead of finding a Thin Mints picture, well, she couldn't find one, she had up the other picture. She couldn't find the Thin Mints picture. We found one for her. Okay, so we popped it in. I'm ready to take on a leadership role. It's a statement, right? See how big that is on a screen? Think about how big a screen is because you're also going to need to design differently depending on how big your screen is. So when you prepare for an engagement, ask the person who's booking you, how big is the screen? And when you get there, walk to the very back of the room and run through every single slide so that you know the people at the back of the room can see. I have presented in absolute bowling alleys of hundreds of people. Not fun. P.S. Not fun. Okay, not fun. And I found out people couldn't see some stuff at the back because when during my AV check, I checked that and then I fixed it. Please do this. Now, here's what we did. We don't use a lot of AI, but we do use a little bit. And so we generated this image using a pre-existing concept. And so the story here is Bill saw something differently than I saw it. I saw 9, Bill saw 6. So we get the actual feel of the conversation and not just a random graphic that was pulled off the internet. P.S. Don't pull graphics off the internet. You'll get in trouble. Okay? Don't do that. All right? Why would you be less of who you are? This big question with this beautiful human who asked Mimi that, and it was a question that changed her life. And then we get a radio station and it's an actual video. Now, friends, listen to me. If I knew her audience was full of people under 35, I would not put this video up because they will not understand tuning a radio. Okay. I'm going to put up a little screen like what's inside the car. Okay. And then we get the record going. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with Mimi, she used to be a DJ. So that's why the record is so important here. Turn my swag on. We literally got a switch for that matches the brand. We got that swag pop again. She gives the definition of it. And then stuff we all get is what we hear about swag, she says, but really it's the stuff we all got. And then she does this inventory of all the amazing things about you, or you do the inventory. When we showed her this deck, she cried and she said, I finally look like a $30,000 speaker. Because friends, however much you get paid, I want you to challenge yourself to look at getting paid, or excuse me, look like a speaker who gets paid double. That's what I want for you. I want you to show up and feel so confident that people are excited to see you speak because that confidence comes from you looking good, not just as a physical dressed up human that gets on stage, but as an entire brand, right? We want your event planners, your meeting planners to be proud to put you on stage. That's what we want. Okay. Use big words. She does a Super Bowl thing. She asks the audience, who did you cheer for? We change this every year. So which teams are here? We play a commercial and she says, how much do you think the average Super Bowl commercial is? She runs around the audience, does an interaction with the audience. By the way, you should have her in just to have her do that piece because it's so good. Like this, she was so brilliant. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just ask her to do it for you if you don't know her or bring her in to speak because it's brilliant what she does. We put up big numbers, 7 million. Now think about this. If we had put $7 million in teeny tiny print, does that make sense for the story? No. Remember, your slides are your story enhancers, not your storytellers. Okay, so let's look at some really specific things we can do now. So less is better, friends. Less is better for storytelling. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to go into performance mode. I'm going to do one of my stories for you. Okay, now this story doesn't translate as well as I want it to on the screen as opposed to being in person. So I want you to imagine I'm there, but this is a really important story. And so I still want to do this for you. Are we all okay with this? Can I get a thumbs up if we're okay with this? Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, friends, I'm going to step back a little. Okay, friends, so I have a nephew. His name is PJ. We don't take PJ into public. Why? Because when PJ went to his kindergarten interview, the teacher leaned over and said, PJ, what is the most important thing I should know about you? Kid looks at her, deadpan face. He goes, just so you know, if I fart, it means I need to poop. Yeah. So anyway, PJ was walking out of his kindergarten interview and the teacher calls after him, bye, PJ, see you on Monday. Kid turns around, waves his finger in her face and says, I don't think so, absolutely not, and walks out. Friends, my brother and I have different values. I don't know if you could tell or not. So we don't take PJ into public. So for PJ's 5th birthday, when I said to him, buddy, what do you want Auntie Twist to make you for your birthday? Kid looks at me, deadpan face. He goes, a hoodie. I was like, buddy, Auntie Twist is really good at sewing, but like stretchy fabric, and I don't have those skills yet. Now, friends, for those of you that I don't know, I now sew all of my clothes, but at the time, I could not sew stretchy fabric to save my life. And it's a whole other set of skills than non-stretchy fabric. And I was like, buddy, Auntie Twist doesn't sew stretchy fabric. Looks at me, deadpan face. I believe in you. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, kid. Okay, great. So because we don't take PJ into public, I'm like, right, we will go shopping online for fabric. Yes, you can buy fabric online. And so I said to him, buddy, you want dinosaurs on your fabric, don't you? And he goes, mm-hmm. And I go click, 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 and 10,000 options for dinosaur fabric come up. And I am thrilled. And I'm like, buddy, which one would you like? Looks at me, deadpan face, and he goes, now they need to be with construction trucks. And I was like, kid, you want dinosaurs and construction trucks? Kid looks at me, I believe in you. I'm like, oh boy, kid. Okay, so I go click, 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 and we get 10 options that pop up, and I am thrilled because apparently there's another auntie who needed to design fabric for her very stubborn nephew. We call it up. I'm like, buddy, which one do you want? And he goes, mm-mm, mm-mm, and now they need to be in outer space. And I was like, buddy, you want dinosaurs and construction trucks in outer space? And he goes, mm-hmm. And this is where friends are going to step out of performance. I go, and the whole audience goes, believe in you. Okay, so that's the audience interaction piece. I believe in you. And I go, oh my goodness. Let me tell you, friends, it's a good thing this kid did because I found that fabric. There was one option, and this was his new hoodie. Now, we're going to go back through this. Okay, we're going to go back through this. These are those slides. Do you see how much white space? Now, listen to me. White space is not just space that's white. It's space that's empty or void of any design. See how much white space is here? Okay. Now let's talk about some really subtle things I did to enhance your experience. Okay. I popped the hoodie on the screen. What came next? Somebody put it in the chat. I'm going to open the chat. Somebody put it in the chat. What came next after this? Dino, you got it. Okay, what did the dinosaur do when it came on the screen? What did it do? It stomped onto the screen. Let me show you, okay? It stomped onto the screen. If it had not, this is what it would have looked like. Bang. Not the same effect. Then what did we have? We had the construction truck. If we just have the construction truck land on the screen, not the same effect for your audience. Then we had space. Space isn't spinning. It's cool, but it doesn't spin. And part of the reason that this lands so well, this particular slide, is because there was movement before and not movement here. So that change actually affects how your audience perceives the story. Okay, so check this out. I want you to listen. There was this, so he wants this hoodie. I'm just going to run through it quickly. Okay, so PJ wants a hoodie. I say, hey, buddy, you want dinosaurs? And he goes, mm-hmm. And I want construction trucks. See that? And by the way, I want outer space too. I want them to be in outer space. And then it lands. Boom. I was so glad that I found that fabric, right? Like it's a different kind of experience for your audience when you use these animations, okay? Now, by the way, an animation is what you do with a single piece on the page. A transition is what happens between your slides, okay? So in a couple of minutes, I'll show you some different spots. By the way, there is a very special piece to this story, my friends. Now, I am going to be very open with you about something. When I first started speaking, somebody took me under his wing. His name is Sanjay, and he's a fantastic Canadian speaker. He was just so generous with me and took me under his wing and helped me get my first gig. This was about 15 years ago. It was my highest paid gig at the time. It was like $2,200 or something. And I was using a food bank at the time. I was a foster parent and we didn't have a lot of money, and I was using a food bank. And I didn't have enough money to actually fly to where I was going. And so I drove, and it was an 11-hour drive. Okay. Because at the time that was a lot cheaper than driving. And I got there and I performed. And let me tell you that I was so green, I didn't even know that I was like supposed to book somewhere to stay on my own. Like I slept in a prop room that night at an old convent. Okay. Like, let me tell you, you just never know where you're going to end up as a speaker. Okay. And so I did 2 engagements. I did one the first night and one the next day. And I did so badly that I didn't want to take the check. Okay. But the truth is that if I didn't take that check, I wouldn't have had enough gas money to get home. Okay. So that's me getting real with you. In January, I got a phone call. It was January the 19th this year. I got a phone call, and I had just landed at the Vancouver, British Columbia airport, and it was like 5:45 in the morning. Okay. And I answered my phone, and it was Sanjay. And he said, hey, remember that gig that you flopped like 15 years ago? Yes, I remember, because if I didn't have another engagement that I did really well at 3 weeks later, I probably would never have gotten on a stage again. And he's like, good, well, you're going back. I was like, what do you mean I'm going back? And he's like, well, we have to get interviewed, but you and I are going to go together and it's going to be in April. And here's the big plan. And by the way, did you just land in like Vancouver or something? And I was like, actually, I did. How did you know? And he goes, I didn't know. I just used that expression. And I was like, okay, cool, reading my mind. Anyway, so it's 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. I then get a phone call from the organizer and he's like, hey, we want to have you back. I hear you want redemption. And I was like, oh, pain, the pain, the pain. I found out that the theme for the conference, my friends, was space. So the students who organized the conference had chosen outer space. Well, let me tell you what I did. I bought this fabric and I made myself an outfit out of this space fabric. And underneath this space fabric, I wore this fabric on a shirt. It might look familiar to you. So what I did was I took because their theme was space and I'm like an all out kind of girl, I used the 7 stars of the Big Dipper as questions they could ask themselves, taught them how to find the North Star using the Big Dipper, and told all these stories. And then at the very end, I said, and by the way, if you ever want to create one of these magical moments, and I unzipped this outfit that I made and took it off, and this was underneath, and the audience went nuts. Okay. So sometimes the stories that you tell will have a continuation. Okay. Now, if I told this part of the story to like a sales team, for example, it wouldn't land the same way. I'm telling you this part of the story because of who you are. Okay. So let's look at elements for a minute. Now, FYI, I'm about to tell a story about plastic surgery. Okay. So this is completely different branding because this was branding for a client of mine. Her name is Dr. Michelle Gobert, and the woman landed a keynote in front of millionaire entrepreneurs, and she had never given a workshop before. So you can imagine how much work we had to do. So she tells this story about her pursuit of beauty and the moment in her life that everything changed because she was going in to trade her A's for double D's when her boyfriend looked at her and said, maybe you should get a nose job while you're in there. Now, we're going to rewind. Okay, let's look at this for a sec. When the A came on, it flashed, right? Like one of those ticker things. And the double D's are bouncing balloons on purpose because it adds to the hilarity of the audience experience. It also is in direct contrast with maybe you should get a nose job. So when you're thinking about transitions and animations, I want you to think about creating contrast. It's obviously not a story I would ever tell for so many reasons, but for her, it worked, okay? Now, this is a screenshot of part of her deck, and you can see how all the colors go together, and it feels very similar. So you want to carry your brand through, all right? Now I want to show you how it can be so simple to make a huge difference with a slide that is very simple. Okay, so I'm going to go back into performance mode for a minute. By the way, I forgot to tell you, a couple of people usually ask me either in person or online. This is my clicker. I have a clicker that attaches to my finger. So if you see it and it's different than what you're used to, this is a great clicker. I can send in the link if anybody is interested in it. Okay, because that's another little fun thing that I can tell you about. All right. So once in a while, I get brought in by Skills Ontario, which is an organization that promotes skilled trades to young people as first career options. And this lovely human, her name is Jamie McMillan, she was in one of my trainings one day. See, Skills brought me in to help their tradeswomen, so it was a tradeswomen event specifically, be more interesting. Because let's face it, I'm a plumber isn't the sexiest thing to say to a 15-year-old when you're trying to encourage them to go into the trades. And so I was teaching them to be more interesting when they introduce themselves. And so Jamie sat across from me. There were about 50 women in the room. And Jamie sat across from me, and I had never met her before. And she put her hand up and she said, I'll practice introducing myself first. She was so excited. You know, the Keeners. And I said, okay, let's do that. And so she stood up and she said, hello, everyone. My name is Jamie, and I'm an iron worker. And I looked at her and I said, that's really boring. Now, as a speaker, I intentionally created tension in the room. Like you can imagine how insulted, like there was this huge collective gasp. And I said to her, that's really boring. Let me help you be more interesting. Okay, because we hold so much authority in the room that we can create these moments. And these emotional moments are really important. Okay, so I said to her, and I looked around at everyone in the room, and friends, what I would love is for you to participate in this. So what I want you to do is open your chat. Okay, so I'm showing you how you can do this online. Open your chat, and you're going to put the word yes or me, but don't push enter unless this is true. Okay, so she got up And or she got up and I got up and I said, Jamie, you be me and I be you. And I looked around at all the women in the room and I'm pretending that I'm looking at all of you right now. And I said, how many of you love to ride roller coasters? And I put my hand up. So friends, now you're going to push enter if it's you. Okay, we got one. How many of you? Two, three, four. Okay, great. We got people who love riding roller coasters. Okay, so hi everyone. How many of you love to ride roller coasters? Just put your hand up. Now, friends, here's a little trick. If you put your hand up like this, your audience puts their hand up like this. If you put your hand up like this, the audience doesn't put their hand up. So you have to make bigger motions on stage. Okay. So how many of you love to ride roller coasters? Oh my goodness, look at all these people who love to ride roller coasters. Friends, my name is Jamie and I can build a roller coaster. Now, what's cool? Iron worker, roller coaster builder. Which one's cooler? Right? Really simple slides, really simple, and they can go a long, long way. Okay? So that's our less is better for storytelling. Let's look at less is better for you. See, sometimes you need to make sure that you have flexibility. And if you put too much text on your screen, unless you are delivering, again, medical information or specific educational stuff that has to have a certain pieces of information on screen, like just stop putting so much on because you need to be able to riff sometimes. We have to be flexible. I can make this presentation an entire day. I can make this presentation half an hour, right? We have to be flexible. But if we put too much on the screen, we can't. So let's take a look at this for a quick sec. This is a deck that was sent to me by a lovely woman called Tahira Bella. She used to be the director of premium services for the Raiders. She's now a VP with the Pistons. And she sent me this. And you can see where she started to give up. Yep, right about there. Right. And then we just got notes. Then we got bullet points. Here they come. And then I just started to get links. She's like, I kind of like this. Okay. She, like lots of us, wanted a different look on every page because we think that that's what's going to look great. But what looks great is when we make things really clear and consistent with our brand. Pick colors, pick fonts, use them all the time. And I'm going to say something super controversial. You don't need to pay millions of dollars to have this done. Okay. I have no demo reel, no website until 2 days ago, which is only for one tiny piece of my business and not for my overall speaking. Okay. So I have no demo reel, no website, virtually no social media presence. I have no logo. Okay. I picked some colors, I picked some stuff, I played with some stuff, I got a little help with some friends who are good at it, and Bob's your uncle. And I just keep going. So what you want to do is be consistent first. Okay. So you saw what we did. You saw what Tahira tried to do on her own. And here's what we did for her. She wanted this superhero stance. Okay. So we used some AI and created this. Now, here's a way that if you have bullet points, you can make them work really well. Pull up one piece at a time. The rest of them are still there, but we know where to look. This is design hierarchy. Okay. Imagine, I'm going to come on the screen here. Imagine if all of these were the same opacity as this one and the same size. We wouldn't know where to look. It would be visually overwhelming. For anybody who uses acronyms, here's a great way to do it. Okay. Remember, this presentation was standing on business. That's what it was about. It was for the Black Youth Sports Symposium. Okay. So self, team player, be accountable, you want to network, and don't give up. Now check this out. We can see it all. And because it's the word stand, it works even better, right? So think about how you can use different opacities or transparencies. We can change that. I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes, okay? All right, so Tarabella, okay? That's how that is. We just put her name and her QR code at the end. Now I'm going to show you what this would look like. Actually, let me do this real quick. Hang on. You come up here to the transparency. We do this, okay? So let's look at this in full view. So we got this or we got this. Which one's easier to read? Okay, this one or this one? See how much harder this is to read? Also, when you type in all capitals, people feel like you're yelling at them. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. So let's keep going here and we go into the brand now, okay? Remember, our slides are your storyteller, or not your storytellers, your slides are your story enhancers. Sometimes when we pick colors, we think orange is a good idea. Friends, orange isn't a good idea for most people, okay? And if you're gonna pick orange, don't do this, okay? Because it's blinding. Can you imagine this on a 20-foot screen? It's blinding, okay? This is what we did. Same presentation. Okay? This one to this one. Which one makes more sense? It's a horticulture, right? It's horticulture. We still have the orange. We got a little touch of orangey red here. We got their stripe across here, okay? The other thing that we have is we have lots of logos we have to put on here. So we actually make it intentionally feel like a break because frankly, people don't really look down here first. They look up here, right? So think about these things when you're doing design. Okay. Here's another one for you. For those of you who have anything like the, rings of familiarity, or you want to talk about rings of something. Okay. Sometimes we do decks that are very technical, like ozone depletion prevention. Okay. Or people who supervise tradespeople who work in confined spaces, and it's 40 hours of training. Sometimes we do really technical things. We think, oh my gosh, how am I going to make this exciting? Here's your answer. This is the exact slide. This is a screenshot of the slide we were sent. Here's what we did. Hey, what's ozone depletion? You just put the question on the screen. See all that beautiful white space? People can process what we're saying. Let's talk about layers of the atmosphere. First, we have the troposphere, and then the stratosphere, and then the mesosphere, and then we have the thermosphere, and then we have the exosphere. And right here, located inside of the stratosphere, we have the ozone layer. See how much easier that is to digest when we bring it in? That's what we want, friends. We want it to be easy. We bring it over here now. We give 3 easy facts. Okay? That's what we do. So just one little piece at a time, okay? So let's put this all together, okay? This is a fabulous group that I'm part of. So I help organize an event during Super Bowl week, okay? And Tahira, that's how actually Tahira and I met. So this was part of this. So I thought it'd be really fun to show you 2 different things that she and I have done together so that you can see how different things can be for different audiences. Now, before I show you this deck, I want you to think about what we talked about a few minutes ago. If the screen is going to be super big, then we're going to design differently than if someone's looking at it on their computer screen. Okay, so what you're about to see is actually a pitch deck. Now, this is a pitch deck for sponsorship for our event, and I'm not going to show you the whole thing because it's long, but I'll show you pieces of it. Here's what I want to challenge you to do. If you don't have a website, or maybe you do, you could put a pitch deck together for yourself. What if you made a pitch deck for you? Okay. So what my friends did is they laid it all out. They were like, here's the information twist. And I was like, great, because they were going to do the design first. And Tahir was like, boys, just lay it out and she'll look after it. And so here's what we did. Now, this was for the one that was last year. So this was New Orleans last year. Hopefully I said New Orleans properly. If I didn't, please excuse my Canadian. All right. And so I say, excuse my French, but je ne parle français. So I just sound like I speak French, but I don't. So what we do always is for each year, we change the bottom. So this past year, we put the Golden Gate Bridge because it was in San Francisco. Okay. So we have the team here, and then we want to introduce each person on the team. Now, if we leave it here and just put names on the screen, that's a lot to look at, right? So what we do is we highlight one person, and then we go to the next person, and then we go to the next person, and then we go to the next person, and you already know who I am, and it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is my beautiful friend Tahira. Now, I want to show you how challenging this can be. Because listen, don't judge yourself against me. If you compare yourself to me, you're going to lose every time. You're new at this. Be patient with yourself. Just do your best to be better than the last time you did this. Okay, I just want you to think about leveling up this much. Okay. And don't judge yourself, okay? No judging. Remember, just noticing. So if I come over here and I click on position and I come over here to layers, it might come to arrange first. You're going to come over to layers. You can see how many layers are in different things. Now, just to make this circle animation move around, this is how many layers there are, okay? Just to make that happen. So sometimes there isn't an obvious answer. We have to create the answer, okay? Design is all about workaround. It really is, okay? So be patient with yourself as you're figuring some of these things out, okay? So then what we do, in this case, we want some visual wow, okay? That's why we have all the brands laid out like this. We want the visual wow. We want people to go, hold on a second, I need to actually look at this. See, sometimes remember as speakers, we want to evoke a particular emotion. right? This is one of those times. All right. Now, our goal with this piece, my friends, was to have it look like it was a moving, like a movie reel, you know, the old film strips. That's how we wanted this to look. Okay. So we bring it across the page. We highlight the people that were there. Again, intentionally lots of information. Okay. This is very intentional. All right. Oh, here's one thing. Uncle Nearest is a whiskey brand that apparently wasn't paying their people and recently filed for bankruptcy. So we, in the next year that we did this, we had to take them out because we have to remember what can affect our brand, right? We're talking about brand. So I want you to think really strategically about what's in there. I'm leaving this in here specifically to show you why we had to change something because I want you to see how we're growing too, right? So Tiramana was one of our sponsors, Valor, the energy drink, which we don't have in Canada yet. Ocho Cinco is one of our sponsors. You know, we've got former players that come, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So we want this to tell its own story because this deck specifically isn't one that we sit with people when they review. Okay, so think about these things. Okay, how big is the screen? Is it live? All of those things. Okay, so that's the all together piece. Now, we are going to, oh my God, yeah, okay. The other thing, let me just do a time check. Okay, the other thing that I want you to think about is how you can show people what you're doing in unexpected places. Okay, this is a very fun story. I was flying from Atlanta to Denver to go to NSA a couple of years ago. Okay, last year, the year before, whatever it was. Okay, and I was in the airport and there was construction. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Toronto has a lot of traffic that causes a lot of construction. When there's construction in other places, I'm just used to it, except when there's really long lineups to eat, because sometimes when I get to an airport, I haven't eaten for a while. I don't know if any of you can relate to this. So here I am standing in what I think is the longest line I have ever seen in an airport restaurant, for an airport restaurant. And the people in front of me are groups of 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and there's me and another single guy beside me, and I have no idea who he is. And we just get talking, okay? And we're talking, and the host comes out and she goes, you two, I need it too. And I was like, he looked at me and I looked at him and I was like, do you want to have lunch together? And he goes, yeah, okay, let's do that. So we sit down. Turns out he's this guy. For those of you who don't know, Chief Bradley Taylor apparently is a star on a TV show where he reviews live body cam footage because he's a sheriff. I'm like, cool, or a chief I'm like, okay, cool. And so we got talking and he's like, yeah, I just started speaking. I'm really excited about it. And I was like, oh, no way. I was like, are you a member of NSA? Let me tell you all about the amazing friends I have at NSA. And so we get chatting and he goes, hey, I'm building this slide deck. Can I show it to you? And I'm like, funny you should say that. I build slide decks. And so he pulls it out. Now, friends, there's something I want you to notice about this. It's 4:5 in ratio aspect. This screen is 16:9. This is 4:5. If you put 4:5 slides up, we're going to know one of two things about you. You have no idea what you're doing, or you're over 50. Okay? Please, for the love of God, 16:9. Okay? So he puts this up and he shows me. And he's so proud because his 14-year-old daughter made this for him. And he should be proud, right? She helped him. He's on stage. He's speaking at churches. He's talking about all the things. Okay? And I was like, can I make you look good? And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, let me help you. Okay. So I gave him Lois Kramer's book. If y'all don't know Lois, she's basically an institution at this point. Okay. Like I might love Lois as much as I love Mimi Brown, but don't tell either of them because there might be a competition. I'm just kidding. Okay. So this, again, that was the original. This is what we did. Okay. This is what we did. Simple. Okay. The title becomes bigger. If we go back, see how all this text competes with this text? It's almost the same size. We want to know where to look first. So we have bigger text and smaller text so that we know where to look. That's called design hierarchy. We don't have all capitals all over the place because people don't want to be yelled at, right? We have a video that plays. Yes, you can play videos from Canva. Let me change that. And this piece isn't finished yet, okay? So we're still working on part of this. But, you know, we put it like this instead of this very crowded screen, right? We pop this up where it all started, where it's going now, etc. Okay? So I want you to think about, just use one of your slides. Think about the before and afters I've shown you. What can you do to elevate a couple of slides? Okay, just start there. So I'm going to stop my screen share and open up my chat and I will take your questions. As a Chiefs fan, I feel offended using an example of an employee of the Raiders. Well, she's not there anymore. Do you feel better now? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She's not there anymore. She's the Pistons. Twist, do you recommend this for our website? Hey, Tracy, how's it going, buddy? Can you come off mute for me?
Hi, Twist.
Hey, buddy.
Yes, I'm off mute.
Okay, can you phrase your question a different way, please?
Okay, so when you talked about this is so cool how you just laid out the chief story and you
Hmm.
put the chief there and how it came to bigger font
Yep.
and then where it was started, kind of like think of a bio or extended bio on your website. Would you recommend
Mhm.
doing something like that for a website? How it's
Sure, why
moving in
not?
and out?
Yeah, totally. You can do that. Like you could do a slide as an animation instead of an actual site. Like we've done that with a couple people. The other thing you could do, give me a quick sec. I'm gonna open up something that we designed recently, um, that will answer your question. 2 seconds. It was in our catalog. Okay, so this is off topic, but not. Okay. So I want you to like pull a link here for yourselves. Okay, friends? So I do a lot of speaking in a particular high school program that is designated by the Ministry of Education in Ontario, Canada specifically. And I did a show last week. I actually was an exhibitor for the first time in years. And what I wanted to do was really show off what our program offerings were without overwhelming people and also knowing that there are 900 schools that I could potentially speak at, and these people don't know who I am. So I can say I'm a great speaker, but like that's like, so what if they don't see me, right? So what I did was this was my booth, okay? So I put up a screen and like the screen was too big. Like I learned a whole lot. Okay. The screen was too big, but what I did was I pulled the best pieces or favorite pieces, I should say, from different programs that I run for those schools or that I could run. And I performed live standing in my booth. Okay. So if you're trying to hit a particular audience, this is a way that you could do that. And I bring this up now, Tracy, because what I'm saying is you can take some of these ideas and use them on your website. Like what piece could you bring over? And then real quick here, I'll show you this other thing. This was our catalog, friends. So it was 5x7 postcards and they had information. So we had a cover, this was the cover page over here on the right-hand side. So we had a cover page, a bio that was about me, frequently asked questions, how to book me, etc. And then they could pick whichever of the programs suited them. And then there's a hole punched in the top left-hand corner. And so we let them pick a binder ring to put on it. And so the catalog was a walk away, right? So think about like how else can you carry your slide designs into your print material too? How can you take some of these, put them on your website and go, oh, how could I do this? Because 2 seconds. Uh, do, 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 do. I see your hand up. Just give me one quick sec here. So this was the catalog. These were the designs for the catalog. And what I did was I put my bio on here. Now, if I'm speaking to professional speakers, this isn't what my bio looks like. This bio is tailored for high school students and for teachers. And then what I did was I put up all of my big credentials, and it was really interesting to do this. Like to put this all in one place was really interesting. And this gained me a lot of credibility. So you could take this concept and make it into slides and then put it on your website for sure, or just take some of these ideas and stick them on your site. Tracy, is that helpful?
It's super helpful, Twist.
Okay.
Thank you so much for pointing to Black and I say you're always so giving, and this is awesome.
Aw, you're a sweetheart. Thanks, buddy. Dr. Kenrick, how can I make your day better, friend?
Yes, you can make my better by answering this question. So, in my journey in Black NSA, I've been listening to several people speak,
Mhm.
and I've been told by a few that on your slides, it's not about you; it's about what you can do for your client.
Mhm.
I have a litany of awards and everything, and I'm seeing that you placed your credibility, the thing that makes you an authority on
Mhm.
the subject matter on the slides.
Mhm.
I'm kind of wondering which one is the best thing. Do I put my credentials on there, or am I looking to satisfy what the client is going to get out of this? I hope I'm making
So I think,
myself.
yeah, let me ask you a couple of clarifying questions. So, are you looking for information about how to establish credibility and achieve what the client wants? Is that your question?
No, based on, and I'm sorry if I'm not clear, but
That's
based
okay. We're
on
gonna
what I,
figure it out together. We're gonna figure it out together.
based on what you were showing
Mm-hmm.
us,
Mm-hmm.
I saw credentials on the slides.
Mm-hmm.
The
Like
confusing part for
CSP,
me is
like what? Like what credential? Can you give me an example, Kenrick? Dr.
you just
Kenrick?
showed us some slides with your credentials on
Oh,
it.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Got it, got it, got it, got it. Okay.
Okay, so the credentials that is on the slides
Mm-hmm.
during my journey, I've been told that the bookers and the planners are not concerned about your credentials.
Got it.
They're
Okay.
concerned what you're going to
Yep.
give to the client. I
Okay,
have
got it.
5 pages of credentials, and
Mm-hmm.
I've eliminated a lot of them because
Mm-hmm.
I've been told that they don't want to know about you. They want to know what you're going to give the client. And does that
Yeah.
apply to the slides?
So it can. What you want to do is be able to, so if you want to establish credibility without listing them all out, by the way, that list was important because of the wide variety of programs we offer for the student program. Okay. So if I'm going to go and speak about slide decks, I just talk about decks. But in that particular case, I'm offering like grant writing, business networking, etiquette, Canva design. Like it's quite child safety and injury prevention. Those don't feel like they should come from the same person. And so I needed to put that there to establish, hey, I've been a foster parent. I ran a camp for 500 underprivileged and at-risk youth every year. I raised $250,000 for one place in 2.5 years. Like I needed to put those up for credibility for that audience. Now, that was actually a print piece, okay, that I just showed you. And what I would do if I was speaking and using it is I would say, okay, so now let's talk about this particular thing. Now, when I was working at a camp and I had to raise money for this camp, we had a operating budget of about $300,000 and I raised 250 of that over a couple of years. I can verbally use that credibility to then demonstrate whatever it is I'm teaching. So it doesn't have to
Right.
physically go on. I can do that in my speech. Does that answer your question?
Um, Kind of, sort of. It's the authentication. For instance, when I walk on stage, there's behind this a backstory of who I am, and it
Mm-hmm.
has all
Yep.
the credentials on it.
Yep.
Um, I think that's fine, but
Mm-hmm.
when I'm sending out a slide deck or even a pitch deck, um, I was told you don't really talk about yourself.
Okay, so it is always about what you can do for them. And here's what I will tell you. If you ask 150 people how they became successful, you'll get 200 stories. So sometimes
Mhm.
those pieces are important. I wouldn't info dump 5 pages of credibility, right? The other thing that we can do is we can put some of our credibility in that walk-up video or in the introduction. And that can serve as that can suffice an audience typically. Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yes, it's about them. And sometimes we have to establish credibility because people have questions, right? Especially those people who
Authenticate
really love the
yourself.
details. Pardon?
Right. Authenticate yourself.
Hmm. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, do I pronounce your name Jordash? Is that how I pronounce your name? How do I pronounce your name?
It is the Jordash. Yes.
Amazing. Nice to meet you.
Um, Nice to
How
meet
can
you
I
as
make your
well.
day better?
I love how you asked that question. That's a good one. So a lot of things there was a lot of good, great stuff in here. I do a
Mhm.
few of them. So I'm wondering, and I use Canva all the time to design mine, then I always got to
Yep.
export it out to PowerPoint for whatever AV
Yep.
team needs PowerPoint. So I'm
Yep.
wondering right now, what would you say would be your top 5 Canva tips that most people don't know that would step your game up pretty quick?
Mhm. Okay. So in terms of Canva tips, like understand layering.
Yep.
Okay. So understand layering. Make sure that you use the opacity, like change the opacity on things so that you can layer them differently. I'm going to
Yep.
show you some of these right now. Give me a sec. Okay, so for example, so this is Michelle Cedarberg. She's a CSP. We did her deck a while ago. See this in the background here? Okay.
Hmm.
She has the word equation, so we found some, math chalkboard. If we didn't reduce the opacity, this is what it would look like. Okay. So understand how opacity and transparency matter and how they affect the screen or how they affect the visuals. Also, this is not specifically about Canva. Just a second, I gotta turn that light back on. There we go. I'm in a shared office space right now and the lights went out. I apologize because I was not standing out there. One of the most challenging things is visual clutter. Okay. So we want things to be super clear. Okay. So making sure that you show people, like tell people where to focus. So as an example, let me do this little piece for you. So she puts this piece up. At one point, she tells a story, okay, about her husband and her going on a their honeymoon, excuse me, their honeymoon, okay? And it's a bike trip across Scotland, and she doesn't prepare at all, and they go on this 72-mile bike trip, okay? So we put this picture up. The thing that I works really well is that it's in what looks like a Polaroid. Okay. So then what we do is we take the focus and we put it on her face because it's funny. Okay. So that's two things in one there. So make it look like you want people to see it, or sorry, make it look intentional. Like, hey, this is a picture. We put a little piece of tape at the top. They taped it up. Okay. And then she tells a story about how unimpressed she was. Now, here's an example, just to skip out for 1 second and go back to what we talked about before. If I blow this up, the picture is blurry, but because of how she tells it, it's actually funny. Okay. Like she's miserable. Okay. So that works really well. And then the other thing I would say is this: learn how to use animations and transitions to help tell the story, right? So she's got a thing here. People say fortune favors the bold, and she does this, right? So learn how to use the animations with your physical movements as well. And then the other thing, and I'm going to throw this in here, she always says, fortune favors the prepared. By the way, friends, when everybody walks out of her keynote after this, they all get a fortune cookie with this on the inside. Okay. Like we came up with that with her. So like it's one of the things we do with people too. So think about like, yes, it's on the screen. I've made this cool thing. What can I give people to walk away with too? Okay. So I don't know if that was 5, but that's a bunch of them. Is that helpful?
That's extremely helpful. I appreciate you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions before we finish up, friends? Okay, cool.
There's some in
Um,
the chat. I
yeah,
think
go. Did I miss
Teresa
one?
had a question in the
Yeah.
chat.
Oh, thank you. Do you need permission from the organizations you worked with to use their logo on your slides and your marketing? Yeah, they'll send you a, if you ask them to send you their logo, they'll typically send it over. Someone from marketing will send it over. So, yep. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Thank you. Okay, I am going to do a little piece of one of mine here before we close. Okay, so friends, in this particular case, I want you to imagine you are high school students who are going into the communities to do a placement. Okay, so that's who you are. You have never met me before. You have no idea who I am. Okay, now this will involve you normally would involve you unmuting and interacting. In this case, I'm going to pretend like. Actually, you know what? You can play along in the chat. We have time for that. Okay, you can play along in the chat. Are you ready? Okay. So friends, listen, customer service and conflict resolution, they're just sets of communication skills. Like you texting your friend, or you sending a selfie, or you sending an emoji, just communication skills. That's what these are. Now, customer service is required whether somebody buys or not. So I have a question, friends. Who's the customer right now? Now, typically at this point, friends, what I get is a whole bunch of blank stares. Okay. And then some kid goes, we are. And I look at them and I say, really, you paying me to be here? Because I'm being paid right now. And then some kid goes, Mrs. W. And I turn to Mrs. W. And I'm like, Mrs. W, you sending me a check? And she goes, heck no, I'm not paying you. Okay. And so we have this banter. We determine that we are all customers. Okay. There's a process I take them through, but we determine we're all customers. And so I reiterate, customer service is required whether somebody buys or not. Now, friends, one of the things that we need to do is we need to be aware of the assumptions that we make about people and how that affects how we treat them. So tell me something. What I told you earlier is that we are going to get uncomfortable here today. We're going to make mistakes, and better you do it in here than out there. So we're going to assume things right now about me out loud. And then I look at a male student and I say, how old am I? With that same PJ deadpan face. And the kid goes, 38. And then somebody else goes 54, and somebody goes 19, and somebody goes 69. And I go, haha, how funny, right? And it helps establish this, credibility with them. Okay. And so then what I do is I say, okay, great. And tell me, where do I live? And somebody goes, Cambridge and Guelph and Toronto and wherever. And I say, okay, what kind of house do I live in? And they'll say something like, a condo. And I say, great. Do I have any kids? Am I married? I hold my fingers up. They go, you don't have a ring on. And no, I don't. And I say, how many kids do I have? And they guess. And I say, do I have any pets? Now, all of these questions are literally cueing what my slides, like the slides that are coming next. Okay, that's what's happening here. So here's what I do. So I won't go through all of them with you right now because we don't have time. But I say, actually, friends, you're all wrong. I am 42 years old and this is where I live. This is an off-grid water access solar powered log cabin and I take a boat to get home. You guessed that I work in an office? Well, here's my office some days. I hotspot my phone and I work from my dock. I don't have any pets. Thank you to everyone who thought I was a cat lady. But this little guy showed up one day. And I have something real special. Come on up, bud. Troy. Troy. Come on, Troy. Come on. Troy, say hi. And then I say to them, no, this isn't AI. This video was taken before AI videos were possible. Yes, I can tell all of my chipmunks apart. Please meet Daisy and Melvin and Margie. And yes, they all have individual personalities. Now, friends, these decks that I do, they don't get me 4 bookings a year or 16 bookings a year, or they get me 24 bookings a year. I do 24 gigs for one school board. Okay. And it's because who I am being on stage is congruent with what is seen on the screen. I'm the least important person in the room with the most responsibility. Your slides are not your storytellers, they are your story enhancers. So when people say you're so lucky, I'm going to ask you the question, what's luck got to do with it? Not much. Not much at all. Stop being under-delivering experts. Start challenging yourself to look like $30,000 speakers because that's how good you can be. This has been Slide Deck Magic, and I'm Twist. Thanks, friends.
All right, let's show Twist some love. That was awesome, awesome. So Twist, how can people get in touch with you?
Mhm. Good news. I have a slide for that. And thank you for all the love, my friends. Thank you.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that. There's always a slide for that. There you go. Feel free to take a screenshot. I have a Canadian number, but you can WhatsApp me and then there's no charge. You can send me an email if you want to, whatever works for you. Okay, friends? So there's my contact information.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I can imagine that there are a lot of people who not only want to get in contact with you, but maybe take advantage of your slide deck magic. And I know you and I had talked previously about something that you and Black NSA have put together
Yep.
for an auction. Can you tell us about that a bit?
Yeah, sure. So friends, if you would like me to have a look at your deck and do a little live design work with you, I am happy to spend an hour helping you with an audit for your deck.
Awesome. And so what we've done here at Black NSA, and Lethea has been so generous in creating that, there is a link in the chat. We are going to auction this off because it is valued at $750 for you to have Twist look at your slide deck. And what this includes is she'll audit your presentation for clutter, weak flow, lack of focus, audience disconnects, and underwhelming visual storytelling. And you'll receive some feedback that will elevate the clarity, credibility, and audience experience. And she is going to do all of that with a starting bid for this auction at $100. So please, everyone, take advantage of that. This does benefit Black NSA. So thank you, Twist, for your generosity in doing this for the lucky winner of the auction. Thank you so much. It has
And
been
Eva, let me just interrupt you for a quick sec. For those of you who are wondering how to work with us, if you are the winner of that auction and you decide to have us build a deck for you, by the way, we charge $5,000 to build a deck, so we're really open about that. Okay, we will take $750 off that $5,000 if you are the winner, regardless of how much you pay. And if you pay more than that, so if the auction goes higher than $750, we will take that amount off of it if you would like a deck done. Okay.
awesome. Thank you so much for that, Twist.
You're welcome.
This was actually delightful and fun. I mean, I know I waste a lot of time in Canva trying to figure all this out. So I am definitely going to place my bid as soon as this is over. So thank you to Twist and everyone with your amazing questions. And I want to take this opportunity now to invite our president, Lethea Owens. I believe I saw Lethea here.
I saw her. I
There she
saw that beautiful smile.
Hi, everyone. I am so sorry. I am traveling. That's what we do, right? I just arrived at the airport, but I want to take a moment. I think John Register is here. John, if you're in the house, could you please confirm that and let me know that you're here?
I am here.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce John. I'm here representing the NSA board. And it's just an honor and a pleasure to be able to say that one of our very own members, our beloved John Register, who
Oh,
represents Black NSA, is also not only a board member, but he is the incoming president, going to be he's the incoming president, the president-elect, but he will be taking over as president during our Influence 2026. So really excited.
no, the year after.
Year after, that's right. I'm sorry,
20, yeah.
2027.
T goes,
2027.
yeah.
Right,
T goes all the way
2027.
through.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So
Don't you
we
be
just
rushing me in this role. Don't you be rushing me.
I know that's right. But just excited to have John on with us. John's going to share a little bit about just a little bit about NSA. We have some member or people on the call and members who aren't a member of NSA National. So he's going to share with us a little bit about just our organization as a whole. So John, take it away. Thank you so much for giving of your time tonight to help educate us.
Of course. And I have to give my flowers to Lethea and who else is on here? Kinston. Thank you all for the opportunity. And it's so great to see everybody. I wish I could be on more often now, but these duties have got me sideways. But I do appreciate it. I didn't join the local chapter first. I actually went to my first national speaker association at it was in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I wasn't even going there to become a speaker. I thought I had that pretty much already down. I would have given myself a 7 on a scale of 10, and I left realizing I was a 3 on a scale of 15. So I didn't even know what I didn't know. I joined the national at that time because I really found my tribe. It was an incredible experience seeing all not only just the platform speakers, but realizing that I had a home, that there was a pathway to elevate. And after seeing like the late great Robinson on stage, Robertson on stage, it just took me to a different levels. The storytelling, what I could do to add more humor, all these things started coming to me, and I wasn't even telling my own story. So I went and found everything I could inside the National Speakers Association at the national level. And what I began doing, which I would encourage everybody to do, if you're not a national member, to please sign up. It's a great deal going on right now with the bundle for your membership and getting influence together. But what I began doing was volunteering. I first started doing the voice of God on at that exact conference with my buddy. I had a buddy that let me know the ropes and how to navigate the system. So it was really good to just kind of jump in. And then I was introduced to the local chapter. So that was really great to keep that continuity going. The second thing that happened when I went to my first influence conference, well, it wasn't called influence then, the national conference, was I saw the pathway through earning that designation of the certified speaking professional. And the reason that's important is not to put a credential behind the name, but what I saw was when I earned that designation, I would have built a business. And oftentimes we love and crave the stage. We like that high before we get on stage. They call our name. We get a chance to go out and get a chance to be in front of an audience and share what we think, but we don't run the business so well. And so I think that's the other reason there's so many different ways to run this business. And as you're learning with inside of Black NSA, there's myriads of things to do and so many people to connect with. And when you get to the nationals, it's even better because you get to be exposed to all of the folks that have run 8-figure businesses to folks that are just starting out on their business, folks that have been through the 2008 a crisis when all the speaking kind of tanked. So people have been through the fire in this stuff. It's just not that fly-by-night person that's on the website saying, "Hey, pay me $10,000 and I'll make you a $10,000 speaker in 6 months." It just doesn't work like that. I mean, there's anomalies out there if you have some type of name behind you, but for the most part, you got to figure out how you're going to work your business, and the National Speakers Association helps you do just that. So I thought about some things that really helped me, I think, from the national level. Um, how it gave me my story, how it refined my message, how it helped me discover my brand voice, helped me understand that business is not just speaking, gave me some accountability, gave me standards, gave me relationship into a different family. And NSA teaches both how to be staged and how to do the business. And so I think some of the best takeaways I've had, and maybe anybody else can chime in here, is the community and family. That's number one for me, is because this organization really does operate out of the spirit of Cavett Roberts, who was our founder, who was talking about how to build a bigger pie, how we can have more people come into the tent. And that was profound because you hear that talk a lot, but you don't often see it executed in real time. Just with myself, this past week, I went to a past president because I was struggling in one part of my business, and he took a look at my website, tore it up, and said, "You need to do this, this, and this, right? Because that's probably why you get booked." And so you take that and you move, you can shift because who else knows the business but yet another speaker that's doing it. And this person has been he's ahead of me. I would say his head. He's been down the road, yeah, and has done more. And I can learn from that person, and we get a chance to learn one from each other. So people share stages, they share referrals, they share contracts. I got 3 referrals this last year and this year, just from a speaker alone. They celebrate your wins. They help you when you're down, and the calendar's not booking as much as it is. But every stage of growth, somebody in NSA was pouring into me, including Letha Owens, right on there. So it's been great to have her as somebody I can just pick up the phone and call and say, "Hey sis, I'm struggling. Can you help me with something?" And she gives me what I need. So it's also great when we feel isolated, we think we're alone, we're underestimated, we're unsure of ourselves, and NSA becomes a place where you realize that you do belong in this profession. I mean, in Black NSA, we had a lot of stuff that happened this year, right? We had or last year into this year, and we lost a lot of members because of DEI. So this is a great place to talk about that inside of how we're going to shift and how we're going to move because the rug got pulled out. But stuff like this has happened. I won't say that this has happened before, but economic downturns have happened. That's not an economic downturn. That's a total annihilation of a total population. But we have been here before. We know how to shift in that environment before. And so we need to rally around each other to lift each other up and help each other pivot during these really difficult times, my opinion. So it's not just inspiration, not just motivation. It's really about excellence. I think the next thing that I would offer is the business development. So look at, if you get the national membership, you'll have access to the vault. The vault has all the past conferences on it. It has contracts on it. It has how do you grow your business. All of that is given to you in a great format. It's been revamped right now, so you can find things in there faster and develop your own pathway. It's getting to the point where it's going to be like a Netflix, where you go to Netflix and Netflix will share with you what the next movies are that it considers you watching. The vault is starting to do that as well, so you can really get some fast answers to your questions that you may have. I think it's very productive. So the model development, we have 2 kind of pathways for this. We have one is how to build a better business, how to be a better speaker. On the business side, it includes branding, pricing, how to negotiate, marketing, lead generation, intellectual property, platform strategy, product development, audience engagement, scalability. All these things and more are what you're going to find at the National Speakers Association in that vault, as well as talking to the members in the hallway as well. There have been so many stories I just heard over the past probably about the past month and 2 months, of people going to their first influence conference where they just didn't have the funds to make it happen. And they figured out a way to make it happen. And because when they do that, of course, they have elevated. They found one nugget that took their business to the stratosphere. Because that's all you really need. You need one thing and do it that one thing exceptionally well, and you can make a great living in this business. I think the local chapters matter because one of our best this that someone can make is just not joining nationally, but also getting involved locally. And we're kind of like I'm a veteran. I'm in the part of Veterans Affairs. The Veterans Affairs is not. They're all not really connected like to the mothership, right? So we're kind of like that as well. But there are incentives when you join the local chapter that rallies up to the national level. And I think that, one of the things I'm thinking about on the board is how do we make that connection even stronger? Because when I left the nationals and went to my local chapter, it was like having a mini conference um, every month, and with great speakers coming in. We just had Stand Tall Steve come in at the Colorado chapter. He just did an amazing job. I learned a tremendous amount. So you get a chance to see those folks in your local neighborhoods, and I think that is powerful as well. I think the other thing is the exposure, possibility to exposure, because now you're at the national level and other people begin to see you, they know you, they understand what you're talking about, so they can start putting you in on proposals that they might not be doing for the next year. And I see that happening more and more as there's all these fly-by-night speakers are getting out there and really they don't know the direction to go. It's not that they're doing things wrong, they just don't know. So we need to be, I think, a help meet for them as they navigate this situation. The exposure matters, especially for, I believe, Black speakers, because representation matters, visibility matters, access matters. When people tell me, and Lethea's heard me say this before, people say, you got 7 seconds to make your first impression on stage. Yeah, maybe, but not winning as many events because of how I'm looking when I'm showing up in that room where folks are making the decision. I had one speaker bureau agent already tell me that I wasn't even considered just because of how I'm looking. I said, what? Are we back to that again? So that is a reality, and I'm just going to push through it and try to figure out how I'm going to navigate and pivot around it, because I know the message I have is a great message. And I want to get it out there and keep on putting it in the markets that I believe actually still want it and value that message. So lifelong growth, one of the greatest gifts that we have. NSA allows you to grow the entire time. There's groups that are out there that will allow you to elevate your brand identity, and make sure that your message is getting into those markets. And you'll find those hamlets, those masterminds that are so critical, I think, for growth. So at every juncture of my growth, NSA was there. I'm honored to serve on the board. I get a chance to serve under the amazing T. Thompson. Just learn at his feet all the time. Jamie's doing a fantastic job as our president. And so I just want to say thank you to you all. If I could answer any questions right now you might have specifically, just let me know, and if I can do so, I will at this time. Thanks so much. Hey, Twist is on. All right, Twist. Yeah,
Hey, buddy, it's really
like
nice
we
to
did
meet
last summer.
you. I'll see you at Influence, yeah?
Yeah, of course, of
Okay.
course. Did I mess up? Am I supposed to go more? Am I supposed to talk some more?
No, we're just checking to see if there are any questions. Any
Okay.
questions for John? John, good to see you.
Good to see you, Eva. Good to see you. Yeah. I can't see my screen's not set up to I can see everybody, so apologize.
Well, we're here. We're all looking good.
Oh, Layla's here. Okay. Angel's here. Tracy's here. All right. All right.
Mhm.
Okay. That's great.
Awesome. Lethea,
Kirsten,
is there
good
anything you
Ash.
need to add?
So I'd like to go ahead and make some announcements. Eva, let me know if the background noise is distracting or if it's okay. Everything okay? You hear
So
me
far, so good.
clearly?
I think we're
Okay,
okay.
wonderful. Wonderful. So I just wanted to make a few announcements. First of all, thank you, Twist. And I think Twist wanted to share something. Twist, would you like to come back on and share real quick?
Yeah, just
Did
for a
she
quick
leave or
sec.
is she
Thank you.
still here?
No, I'm here, Lethea. I'm here. You betcha, Mike. You betcha. And by the way, I can't wait to hug you at NSA. For those of you that don't know, Lethea gives great hugs. Lethea gives great hugs. Friends, I just want to tell you what it means that you would trust me to come in and do this with you. Like total speaker hat on and peer hat on. It's really, really special to spend time with you. And oh, I might choke up. I just want you to know how much this means to me to be trusted with sharing some space with you. So thank you. Oh, thank you very much for having me. Thank you. And please, 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 at Influence, come and ask first, but I hug most people when I'm feeling well enough to. So please come and see me. I would really love to share more time with you.
We love you and adore you, Twist. Thank you so much for sharing your talents with us and just mind blown. I've seen lots of presentations on presentations, and your talk was one of the top ones that I've had a chance to experience. So thanks again for sharing that brilliance with us.
I'm so
Yeah.
grateful. Thank you.
Yeah. So I also want to thank John for taking time out of his busy schedule as well to join us tonight and to just share those nuggets, that wisdom, and just that perspective that really helps us to think more broadly about the speaking industry and our role in it, and how we connect with NSA. So thank you, John, for sharing that. I want to just share, and I can't see everyone, but if you are a new Black NSA member, I know I've talked to probably 3 new members in the last week or so. So if you are a new member who just recently, within the last 30 days, joined Black NSA, would you put in the chat new? Just put the word new, and we're going to love on you. We're going to, John, wonderful. Welcome, John. So good to have you as part of our family. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Who else is new? Who else is new? All right, John. I know there was someone else that I saw here. Anyone else who's still here that is new?
Dr. Kana.
Hannah, yeah, Dr. Hannah is here. I didn't see her put new in the chat, but
I
she is,
did.
you did? I didn't see it, beloved. I'm so sorry. But
It's
Dr.
okay.
Hannah, so good to have you as part of our family. Woo, 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 woo. Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. And I had a chance to speak with, who did I speak with today? Erica. I spoke with Erica today, and she is also a new member who has joined Black NSA. So we are really growing, and we're growing because of people like you. Like, you're telling your friends, you're sharing with other people, you are spreading the good news. And so I just want to encourage you to continue to do so. A couple of other announcements. I'll be brief so that we can get into our deep dive. Want to remind you that there are opportunities to volunteer. I mentioned a couple of months ago that Christina Rampersad has stepped up to the plate to chair our Global Virtual Speakers Summit. So I'm so excited that she is doing that, but she needs support. She needs help. She needs help from talented individuals who will come alongside of her and work on that committee. So please, if you would, if you're interested in serving, I would say go ahead and connect with Christina to learn a little bit more about what that opportunity entails. We also have our family reunion. We have more positions available on that committee. If you want to be integral and a part of helping plan our family reunion, we just finished designing our t-shirts. Our t-shirts and our ticket sales opened or went live this week. So really excited about that. We also have our sponsorship committees looking for new volunteers, and we need 2 volunteers for our newsletter committee. So you've seen that Deborah Biddle has up leveled our newsletter. It's just it's really powerful resource that she is now putting together for our chapter. And we want to encourage you, if you have a passion for communication and you're creative, let us know so that we could get you plugged in. Deborah's going to be stepping down from that position and creating space for someone else to take to step up, I guess I should say. So let us know if you feel like that's a great fit for you. I also wanted to share with you some important dates. So, number one, our family reunion is going to be on July 25th. Now, some people are coming to Influence, and if you are, we encourage you to register for the full Influence conference. But we also want to say that if you can't attend Influence, and you can still make it for the family reunion, come to the family reunion, right? So that should be at a minimum, right? So we want to encourage you to come out for the family reunion. We have our t-shirts available. Our theme this year is called Built Different. And we're so excited to just share with Influence and to share with the world how we're built different. And our t-shirt basically says it all. Also, July 28th, which is the following Tuesday, is our post-conference meeting.
And then we have our mastermind early bird registration is going on right now. So if you haven't seen that, I want to encourage you to go ahead and register for the fall mastermind. That's going to be, I think it starts in September, if I'm not mistaken. We have our election meeting on Monday. So if you are interested in serving either on the board or in a leadership role, this is the meeting to come to learn more about Black NSA leadership. We also have our membership matters coming up on the 21st, which is Thursday, the 21st. We have Inside Black NSA, which all members are invited to come to our Inside Black NSA meeting. That's the meeting open to the public where we tell people more about our membership. If you are not aware, you can actually invite someone to attend this meeting for free. Now, they only get to come once for free, but you can give anyone a guest pass. And if you go to our website, blacknsaspeaker.org slash events, on that site are the instructions for how someone can actually attend our EDU session for free. So please help us spread the word, get it out, tell people to come and join us for a meeting if they're not 100% sure that they want to become a member yet. And we are actually taking nominations for our Black NSA awards. We actually give out several awards during our family reunion. And so if you've seen someone step up to the plate and to someone who's just really embodied the the culture and the values of Black NSA, then you want to recognize them. The description for each award is on the nomination website, and Teresa is going to post links for everything in the chat. And we have our election nominations are happening as well. So just want to encourage you, please, read the emails when they come out. We're excited about all the things that we're doing for you as it relates to Black NSA. We're here. If you have questions, comments, or concerns or celebrations, please let us know. And I want to just, share, I've been hearing a lot about members partnering and members referring each other. I'm actually at the airport flying to New York. I was able to refer Dr. Anthony Richies for the conference that I'm going to, and they booked him to speak as well. So we need to do more of that. We want to hear those success stories where you're helping your colleagues actually get bookings and to grow their business. And I heard, I don't know the other ladies as well, but I know Jakara is one of those individuals, but it was so exciting to hear. I think I may have been their first registrant. If I'm not, I'm probably in the top, but they just announced that they're doing an event in Orlando. So to see, members come together and put on an event together, that's also super exciting. So I want to see us do more collaborations together and partnerships together so that we can rise together as we climb. So those are the announcements this month. Everyone be blessed and encouraged. It's an honor and a pleasure as always to serve you. And you are my beloved. You are just very important to me. And I take this position very seriously. And it's an honor and a privilege to serve you. Back to you, Eva.
Thank you, Lethea. That was quite a lot going on in Black NSA. If y'all noticed that Teresa put up the Talk a Dot slide for us to get your feedback on Black NSA and the amazing presentation that we just got from Twist. Twist, thank you again. It was really awesome to see that presentation and to learn all the magical things we can do in Canva to make our slides and our presentation, our slide deck and our presentation to make the meeting planners look good. So what we're going to do now, before we go into our deep dive, is to take a 5-minute break. And so right now, I got to do the math in my head because I'm on the West Coast. It is 7:24, I guess, soon to be 7:25. So let's maybe agree to come back at 7:30. And we will dive a little bit deeper into the presentation that we heard this evening. Twish, you are more than welcome to stay and support us in that deep dive as well, because I'm sure there'll be more and more questions for you as well. But we're going to try to unpack everything and see how we can use this to grow and enhance our businesses. So see everyone back in 5 minutes. 5 minutes, please. And I'm sure we'll have some party music for the 5 minutes.